Welcome to Biopractice webinar on conducting proper deviation investigations. The presenter for today's webinar is Ms. Daniele DeLucy. She is the owner of ASA Training and Consulting LLC. And now I would like to hand over to the speaker, Ms. Daniele DeLucy. Over to you, ma'am.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Danielle DeLucy. As my colleague had stated, I am currently the owner of a consulting company after spending about 15 years in the pharma industry. I have a pretty much a very good focus on quality systems and sterility assurance systems. My background is mostly in microbiology, but I spent much of my pharma career doing quality systems improvement and reviewing deviations as well. So this presentation will go through, it has a lot of information about how to conduct proper deviation investigations, and hopefully you'll find some of the things that I have put together helpful for your next deviation review or write-up. We have a pretty packed agenda today. We will do a review of what the FDA or other regulatory agencies require for investigations. We'll define what a deviation is. Even though it may be pretty self-explanatory, there could be some of those situations that could be a little bit interesting where you don't know whether or not it's a deviation or just maybe an entry error on your document. We'll classify them into types of deviations and identification of deviations. We'll go through the actual process of how to conduct the investigation using interviews, source documents, root cause, CAPAs, and then we'll go through the key elements of an investigation report. So this is kind of a humorous slide, but this is what we're trying to avoid. This is just a silly cartoon that I had found that says worst deviation ever. And obviously when our regulators come in or any of our upper management or quality control colleagues, we don't want them to come in and say that we have the worst deviation ever. I did have an experience personally where one firm I did work at, the investigator did actually speak those words of our subject matter experts when reviewing the deviation. So needless to say, don't want to have that happen to you guys, so we will go through these slides and hope that the investigations that you put together will be thorough and complete. So many of you already know, probably most of you are in the pharma industry, but we have regulatory requirements for investigations. Here in the United States, we're governed by FDA and the CFR Part 211-192. It does have a big definition about what a deviation is. It's any unexplained discrepancy, and you should really investigate that, it says, and have a written record of the investigation. And one key thing that they do hone in on is to include conclusions and follow-up, which is huge for the FDA. And in our European friends, we have the EC Guide to Good Manufacturing Practice for the European Union, and they also say that any deviations from instructions or procedures should be avoided as far as possible. And they also include that they should be approved in writing by a competent person, so they really hone in on the training aspect of those who are reviewing the deviations. Another cartoon I put together here, this is Einstein discovers that time is actually money. So this one thing that I did find out in reviewing and even writing up many deviations, they are extremely expensive to our business. If you ever did a deviation that maybe is a sterility failure, a potency failure, a labeling issue, you know that it can take a lot of time and energy and a lot of money to go into investigating with regard to maybe sending samples out for additional testing or actually bringing consultants in to help you. So it's in the company's best interest to avoid deviations. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. What is a deviation exactly? So it is a variance from the approved written procedures. I mean, it's pretty obvious what a deviation is. Thorough deviation investigations are mandatory in the eyes of regulatory agencies, like I said, with FDA, the EU, any regulatory body actually does require you to give them a list of your deviations as soon as they come in to investigate you. In the event that you have incomplete investigations, as they state here in some of these bullets, you can have a lot of issues for your firm. Obviously, the first and foremost, the most important thing for your business is to meet the needs of the customer, or the patient in this case, when we're selling biologics or pharmaceuticals out to our customers. So if you have many deviations for, let's say, a product that is in short supply, that could impact the customer and the patient and perhaps be a health problem for them. You could lose jobs. In the event you have many, many deviations, the FDA can come in and slap a warning letter on your company, and or, God forbid, maybe a consent decree, and bring in third-party reviewers that would require many people to lose their jobs, because then the FDA would be reviewing your investigations. And also your impact to shareholders, those people who are actually pretty important to the business. They keep it going. So again, as I said, you could have potentially impure or potentially dangerous product to the patient if you have a lot of deviations, or deviations that are scientifically unsound. And then obviously, as we'll go through later on, if you ever go on Google or the FDA webpage, you'll read some of the 483 citations. One of the top findings that they have is incomplete deviation investigations on their 483s that they do take a look at, and they do trend those. So you'll see many, many, many 483s that are referring to the incomplete deviation investigation.